one day somebody does something unspeakable to someone else, to someone you hardly knew, and you do something about it because you can.
This story comes to us from the New York Times, and good news indeed. A federal judge ordered the Los Angeles Police Department to stop using foam projectiles, tear gas, and flashbang devices against journalists covering protests after reporters and photographers were struck during demonstrations last month. The temporary restraining order by Judge Hernan D. Vera of U.S. District Court also prohibits police officers from blocking journalists from closed areas, obstructing them from gathering information, and detaining them for violating curfews or failing to disperse. The case stems from injuries that journalists experienced while covering street demonstrations against the Trump administration's crackdown on immigration enforcement. Uh, A lawsuit filed by the Los Angeles Press Club and Status Quo, an investigative reporting site, documented 35 instances in which Los Angeles police officers had used projectiles, tear gas, or other forms of force against journalists or blocked them from public areas. The press organizations are likely to succeed in arguing that journalists' First Amendment rights were violated and that they would suffer harm in covering future protests in Los Angeles. That's what the judge wrote in granting the temporary restraining order, which lasts 14 days. Said, indeed, given the fundamental nature of the speech interests involved and the almost daily protests throughout Southern California, drawing media coverage, the identified harm is undoubtedly imminent and concrete, Judge Vera wrote. He set a hearing for later this month in July to consider whether to issue a preliminary injunction and order the Los Angeles Police Department to disseminate the restrictions in his order to its officers within 72 hours. Now, this was on Friday that this came out. Adam Rose, the press rights chair for the Los Angeles Press Club, said the ruling was important because it showed the critical role journalists play in informing the public. It also shows that the Los Angeles police have not been following state laws that are meant to protect reporters covering protests. The press should be able to do their job without fear of being injured by police, without fear of their rights being chilled in other ways, said Mr. Rose. The Los Angeles Police Department declined to comment, and the Los Angeles City Attorney's Office did not immediately respond to a request for comment. The lawsuit describes a widely covered incident in which a police officer shot Lauren Tomasi, that's the Australian journalist, where he turns, shoots her. She was hit in the leg with a projectile while she was holding a microphone and facing a camera for a live television report. Other journalists, clearly identified as members of the media, were shoved by police officers, pushed by police horses, or shot with projectiles in the knee, the head, the abdomen, and the chest, say the suit. A reporter for the New York Times was shot in the torso with a foam projectile while she covered a large demonstration in downtown Los Angeles on June 8th. That's of this year. Her incident is one of many mentioned in the lawsuit, but the Times is not a party in this case, the New York Times. But she was mentioned in this lawsuit. So this was on July 11th that the judge ordered this restraining order. So until July 25th, the police cannot shoot any foam projectiles, tear gas, or rubber bullets, or any of that at reporters. They can't block reporters from the public area or closed scenes. They have to let them come in and journalize, right? Report. That's right. Because the California Constitution says in Article 1, Section 2, no law shall be made to prohibit the liberty of speech and press. It says that. But as these cops, man, you have your press pass badge or your camera, ABC News or whatever, and they start shooting stuff at you and pushing them out of the way. And You guys are violating the California Constitution, not to mention the First Amendment of the United States Constitution or the Fourth Amendment because they're not secure in their persons. And so finally, this is a step forward. We'll see what the hearing results. It may just be a dog and pony show. But for 2 weeks until July 25th, the Los Angeles Police Department must stand down. That's right. And now we're going to see, this is a test. If any of the LAPD cops violate this order and they go, it's a judge's order, man, you know, then it's just a dog and pony show. But if any of them violate this order and they're charged with violation, then we'll see. Yeah, right. But I don't mean to be so skeptical, but I just don't trust cops, man. I don't. I'm nice to them because I had a mother and I was raised right, you know. But I don't trust them. I'm kind of like off balance a little. Like, okay, like don't do, like don't arrest me or nothing. And yeah, there's been a few deputies that overstepped the line. One of them, we ran out of California. He left the department and he left California. He's gone. You know, hate to be like that, but when you act like an ass, you're gonna get that kind of disrespect. Yeah, it's called the law of reciprocation. Reciprocal respect, as well as reciprocal disrespect. But I digress. I don't know if I got off on a tangent or not, but it does go along with this here that look, Los Angeles Police Department, the journalists are getting tired of it, and the people are getting tired of it. Start acting right, or these U.S. District Court judges are going to start holding your feet over the fire. At least for 2 weeks, right?